Hey guys, this is Doug. Welcome back to Danger Planet, and today we're doing our tier list update meta watch for October 2025 Marvel Crisis Protocol. The internet, welcome back to Team Danger Planet and Marvel Crisis Protocol. This episode, we're doing an update of our kind of, I would say, quarterly tier list of Marvel Crisis Protocol, where our team of tournament organizers and competitive players and rookie, which is myself, look at the metadata for historical matches played both online and in person at major events, and then we kind of do a tier list breakout of where we believe the different affiliations should be based on that. And then based on, sometimes we'll also look at models that are imminently coming out where their rules have been spoiled, and we'll take that into consideration. Sometimes we won't. It depends. We're a wild bunch. No one knows what to expect. It's going to be a crazy time. Okay. Omar, welcome back to the channel. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Good. Well, good to have you back. Not like we didn't just film an episode 5 minutes before, which we did. Shane, also having not seen you for 5 minutes, how are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic, Doug. How are you doing on this fine evening?
Good. Pretty much the same as it was before. So there we are.
Nice.
Gentlemen,
we are doing the time warp again.
Let's do the time warp again. We all agree to the rules of the scenario here. We've got the different tiers that we're going to break out the rankings into. And we're basically going to go affiliation by affiliation. We're going to try to keep it to a very relatively brief high-level discussion of where the affiliation is in the general meta as a context, if there's any key changes that have happened recently, so since the last time we made a video, or if there's anything that we feel that's like a major shift. And then we rank it, and we're going to stack rank it. And I think you want to go alphabetical, Shane? You're the master of the ship here today, sir. What are we doing?
Yeah, let's do alphabetical. And for some of these factions, there's going to be very little to no change from when we last did it. So we will probably just throw them in a category and be like, yep, it's good.
Yeah, which I think is fine. We can throw them in a category, and then we'll just briefly mention they're here because of X, Y, and Z reason. Not much has changed since the last time we talked about it. And then move on to the next one, which I think is fine. That's totally fine. So where do you want to start, Mr. Shane?
All right, so Omar, what do you think about A-Force?
I really like A-Force. I think they're somewhere between good and less super. And I'm going to say good. Their basic building block of double taunt or double bodyguard is just still amazing. It still works really well, and it's really solid. I know that they suffer a little bit at lower threats, but it's really easy to duel with them because some of their best models are just incredible meta models. So that system works really well in general.
Yeah, I agree. They're probably somewhere in the back end of good, and you do need to duel with them for some stuff, but not like a ton. They can handle 95% of the matchups, and they're actually good into a lot of the super and the good stuff.
Do you guys think that there's any major meta shakeups since the last time we've made a video on them, in terms of what they're trying to do, in terms of available models, anything like that? Cards.
I think the theme of this one is going to be the Web Warriors models, which just got spoiled like the week that we're recording this video, and are still a huge unknown to kind of all of us. There's a lot of experimentation going on with them. I think we had put Web Warriors up in Super last time, and I think they're probably going to stay there. And A-Force right now is fine-ish into them, so it'll be interesting to see what happens once they get rolling, like if A-Force can really handle them, or if the weight of the spiders is going to keep them down.
So this is maybe a bit of a hot take, but I actually think A-Force will do better into new webs because they will not be running old miles as much, and meta A-Force runs Voodoo. So having that actionless steal and your opponent having less steals in their part, I think it just kind of makes them a little bit better. I don't think it's going to move the needle too much, but I think they will actually kind of be slightly better in the meta moving forward.
Yeah, I'm always concerned about everybody on their list is size 3 or lower, and in Web Warriors they see size 3 and their eyes kind of light up.
That's true. Yeah, there's a lot of displacement to deal with.
Yep.
I think the loss, or rather the option to not have just one flavor of Miles, is going to be very interesting. We'll talk about that later. Where do you guys think that this squad lands currently? Where do you want to start off the list with putting it?
I think the bottom end of good. I think that's a good spot for them. Again, they need to duel, so that's why they're kind of towards the bottom end. But where they're going to be fine, where you're going to play them, they're going to be good into it.
I agree. I think they're pretty evergreen at the moment.
Okay, that's fine. And then what do we want to do next? Who do we have next?
Next up is Asgard. I'm kind of thinking they're in the less super tier. What do you think, Omar?
I think I agree with you. They have really solid models. I think that one of the big issues they have is just all the leaders are a little expensive, and they don't rotate particularly well. So yeah, I think they're less super. I think they're one model away from being good or even just straight up super. But yeah, I think they're slightly in a rougher spot.
Yeah, I've been playing them a lot recently, and their 3-threat options are really limited, and the no 2-threat option makes it really difficult to roll in with that high-cost leader. But I do think Loki, Prince of Lies, is probably their best leader and probably needs a little bit more exploration. I think somebody could really unlock him and do well. According to Soren, and shout out to Soren, I'll put a link in the show notes. They came in at 13th last month, and I think that's kind of like the cusp of where they're kind of always going to be.
Yeah, I think people tend to miss some of their kind of like generically good models. I think Sif is amazing, and I think Valkyrie is better than people give her credit for. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't think it's enough to kind of build a truly incredible affiliation at the moment.
No, I think their core 16 is like Loki 2, Sif, Valk, and Bill, which is cool to build around. But I think they're like you said, just one of those lower cost pieces away. I don't think we're going to see that in the Warriors 3 and Valkyrie 2, but we'll see what happens.
Do you guys think that there's any models that have been spoiled recently that get included in these lists now, or any new additions in general to these lists?
I think Spider-Ham is going to be really interesting in anybody's list. Being a 2-threat model with damage reduction 1 means we've all seen Luke Cage and all these other models that he's going to take 1 damage every time he takes a attack from a 5-die builder. So he, I think, is going to be really interesting because he's got the random displacement where for a 2-threat it's, oops, you might be pushed off of the point, or I might be pushed. If you're really savvy on how you set up that comical web whip, it's going to be really interesting to see what people can do with him. And I think he will be able to slot in with Bullseye getting a little bit of his nerf. I think and Toad getting a little bit of a nerf. I think it opens up that 2-threat slot, and I think he kind of fits into where you could just throw that dude in a list.
Yeah, do you think Spider-Ham is going to be seen a lot more in like I need a generic good stuff to drop type things, like in general?
I weirdly think he's more specialized or too specialized for that to happen. I think where he's going to be good is going to be great, and I think otherwise people are going to stick with a generically good Wong or even Toad. I also think that Echoes could be a really big boon for them. She's a hell of a 3-threat really fast, really good at kind of putting out damage, and the kind of rerolls that Asgard will give her will go a long way. So I think that's a possible shot.
Interesting. Okay. Well, where do you guys think that these guys? Where do you, given the current situation, all things included, where do you think Asgard falls on the spectrum right now?
I think less super is a good spot for them. Maybe towards the top of it, maybe towards the middle of it, which means they're totally fine, right? Like if you play them, you can certainly do well. Like the factions that are in super, you're gonna be able to smash tournaments with if you're a good player. The factions that are in good, you're still going to be able to go win. The less super, it's going to be a little bit harder road to get there, but I think you could still go and win a tournament with Asgard or anybody else who's going to be in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's MCP, right? Like, if you roll hot
Yep.
and you make good decisions, you can certainly win with this faction. Certainly. Or affiliation, rather.
Yeah, I definitely agree with less super. I think they're just a little bit below some of the best stuff out there.
Yeah. I think that's fair. All right. What would the Wise Council like to tackle next?
So the Avengers, my opinion is these guys are going to be at the top of the good. I don't think they quite crack into the super, but they've got a lot of really good builds, and they've proven that even though they've got the highest play rate, again, they're sitting above Asgard in 12, and with that massive amount of play rate, they're still sitting up there. It speaks volumes to me.
So I'm fine with that, but I will say that I think Avengers is one of those affiliations that every time new models get added to the game, they're always in a great position to take advantage of it, right? Because they have such good utility leaderships. A quick shout out to Steve 3 using new Miles because he has great triggers, and that dude is just an incredible model in general. So I think top of good. I think even bottom of super. I still think Avengers is one of the best things in the game, and this just helps them. I think that's about right, but I think it's always just important to call out just how powerful something can be under someone like Steve 1 with that kind of cheap superpower leadership to really kind of get the engine going real early.
For sure. I think that this mid-range game that we currently play is going to do well for him. And look, Sam Wilson had 77 games in August with a 60% win rate. He is still amazing. And Avengers overall were topped in at 576 games, where in comparison, Asgard was at 246. And A-Force was in at 90 games. So, they are just seeing an exponentially large play rate, and they're still doing fine.
Which is interesting to me, just looking, like, because you probably also have a lot of newer players that, like, buy the starter, and the models they have that they want to represent and want to play with are the models that they, bought in the starter and maybe bought an expansion or two for.
Yep.
And they're still holding up, which is good. Like, I've definitely seen play rates of certain super popular factions be brought down by the masses, as it were, and it doesn't seem like that's happening to the Avengers at all, which is cool.
So Omar, what do you think? Top of good, bottom of super? Where do you think these avenging people need to be?
I think bottom of super is the call, just because they're so flexible, that there's so many different ways, and any kind of meta shake up, they will always benefit from it, right? Because they're, again, just so good at taking advantage of changes in the game.
Cool.
Right.
I agree. So Black Order, is there discussion? Do I just put them in dog water and
Talk the dog's water? Oh no, talk the dog. I mean, okay, it's worth mentioning kind of what's going on with them, what's happening with their current mostly played lists, right? It's MCP. Like, if you like these guys and you want to bring them to an event, then bring Black Order to an event. It's no harm, no foul. But if we're gonna look each other, if we're gonna sit down, like in like a chair in a semicircle, all looking at each other, in the eyes. We all know that if you're trying to win a hyper competitive tournament, you're not bringing these guys, right? Like, and if you truly believe that, when we'll give you a big group hug, and we'll kind of be like, we're here to support you, but I'm sorry that you're wrong, and move on.
You can like them, but winning an event with them is going to be extremely difficult.
Winning an event with these guys is going to legitimately be difficult, right? Like, we're not saying that you can't show up to your local store and stomp a bunch of people with them or whatever, or maybe you are really good with them, but we are like objectively saying, based on the data, you're probably wrong. But like, what is the current list that you would make with them, you think, or you would see? Like,
I don't even know. The changes to the reality gem, and honestly, just they need a rework. If Thanos' leadership read assign gems like you assign horsemen, then the game, I think, for them would be totally different. But the list building restrictions and the nerfs to their models and the nerfs to the gem superpowers have just finally put the nail in the coffin on them, and there's no climbing back up.
So there's no argument that they're having some issues with their models, right? Like, it's important to mention that Thanos, who was arguably the best thing in the game for a while, got nerfed, and he was carrying that faction hard. The other thing I think it's important to kind of point out, because this can change in a relatively short time, is the current crisis rotation favors mobility and kind of scoring, right? We're seeing a lot of kind of really effective mid-range stuff with a slight emphasis on scoring over attrition. If that changes in 6 months when they do the rotation, because they're doing it yearly now, to a kind of slower or more kind of clumped up fight, Black Order inherently gets better, right? Even if the models don't change. So that kind of change of scoring mechanisms and kind of game types will benefit them, right? This is about as bad as it can get for them. So any change to how the game plays will benefit them, even if their models don't get better. And I do think they will get some buffs in the relatively near future.
Yeah, I think that's very wise. I think that makes a lot of sense and comes from a place of celestial wisdom. Good job, Mr. Omar. A true sage of tabletop gaming. You are.
I try,
Yeah. Mr. Shane, anything else to add before we do inevitably put them in Talk the Dog Water? I felt like we had to have that little off ramp though, just to like kind of put up a defense and be like, listen, we're not heartless monsters, but
I'm heartless, man. I am totally heartless. We could throw them in there and move on with our lives. Guess what? Spoiler alert: Sentinels is going to be there too, and we can just move on with that as well.
Jeez.
Come February, Sentinels will have a different.
Jeez, Shane, come on, man.
Have a different outlook.
Can't believe it. Can't believe it.
So on to somebody who might win some games.
Shane is the bad cop of the tier list. If anyone wanted to, Omar's like the sense of reason, where he's like, well, let's be reasonable and look at this from an objective standpoint, where like maybe there is a way that this could make sense or be kind of beneficial. And Shane's like, no, this is just poop. Like, this is just trash. Moving on. Damn.
Yeah.
Man. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, Shane.
The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. I've moved on from Black Order. The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. I know they're not necessarily evil, but I believe they are. What is your opinion there, Omar?
Oh, this hurts me in my soul. They might be not near super. They're between that and less super. The new box that they got 2 months ago did not do much for them, unfortunately. I was really excited about that, and it didn't really move the needle. Magneto is still a model that really kind of struggles with kind of the wider maps we're currently getting. And Mystique is fine, right? She's solid, but she's definitely not going to kind of win you games. The one advantage they have is one of the new models from the new Spider-Foe models coming will inherently benefit from Mystique. So again, just to quickly say, her leadership gives you a refund when you interact with objectives. He has an ability to give you a refund when you interact with objectives the first time an activation. So he's inherently getting an extra power just out of thin air, right? That's good. That's powerful. So maybe let's say we'll put them in less super, toward the bottom of less super. I think that's fair. I love Brotherhood of Mutants. I love you, Magneto, so it kind of hurts me to put them any lower than that. But yeah, I think they're another affiliation that is poised to do better as soon as the actual crisis changes, right? If we ever get like another E again, or we get more of these kind of very tight in box shapes that AMG seems to love now, they can do really well because few models hit harder than the Magneto at full tilt.
Yeah, I always feel like Magneto Brotherhood of Mutants was the first thing I collected ever when I got into MCP. So I have a fully painted Brotherhood of Mutants like team, like, and I love them. They're awesome. But I think the thing that I run into is that he's expensive and kind of slow a lot, and it's hard to overcome that. Like, he's really good other than that, but he's expensive as leader and he's kind of slow, and there aren't a bunch of amazing ways to, like, I don't know, position him really easily. I don't know. Shane, what do you think?
So I think Magneto's a trap. I think he's bad in the current crisis setup. I think playing Magneto is probably not a great idea.
Right,
I think Mystique
Savage.
is probably fine. I think the box did some things for her. I think Avalanche, who might be the most boring dude out there. There's no argument here. That dude is going to walk. He's going to throw a 4-die attack, and he's going to push somebody away for 2 power. Like he's got the most boring activation in the world. But I think that moves the needle a little bit, and I think Exodus is secretly a good model. I originally thought this model was going to be the worst in the box, and my play has proven that he's fine. If you find the right situations for him and the right maps for him, he can rotate well and do things well. I think if you took Brotherhood and dueled them with Hellfire, because they can't play on, or they get less value out of playing on the pay-to-flips, and in certain of the extract games. So on those games, you take Hellfire. On the other games, you take Mystique. Mystique also affiliated in Hellfire, and I'm talking Hellfire like you go 5 wide and you run Emma, Mystique, and your other model of choice, probably Psylocke, but maybe somebody else, and you dual affiliate those two. I think you would see both of their win rates go up instead of people trying either Brotherhood or Hellfire.
That seems reasonable. Omar, any spicy bucks?
I think that's fine. I think that there's a good chance Emma is going to get some changes in the next balance patch. They did mention that, and Emma is a Brotherhood model as well as being the Hellfire leader. So I definitely think if she gets a few changes there, that could make that duel alive. I agree with you, probably need some kind of duel. I mean, dueling with Hellfire kind of feels like just mixing 2 bad things and hoping somehow the combination is better, like, 2 different flavors of fart and hoping that somehow that makes a more potent concoction. But yeah, I think
Gross.
I don't think they're too far off, right? I definitely think Magneto needs a little bit of help, though.
Yeah. What if they literally were just like, flippity floppity, whippity boppity, he's 5 points now?
I think it'd be absolutely broken.
If they took him down a single point?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be sweet. I would love playing him.
Yeah. Again, I love Magneto, so I wouldn't be inherently against it. But I think it's important for me to say, for my future, credentials, say no. That would be broken. Yes.
Going on the record, that would be stupid and broken. Okay, fair. All right. And you guys are agreed on where you want to put them?
Yeah. I think we're talking towards the bottom of less super for right now, but I do think there might be some potential, and maybe we'll see some purists jump in there and do something.
Okay, that's fine by me. All right, what do you want to do next?
Cabal. So Cabal's in a really interesting spot. There was a large tournament in Australia recently where a player won that event with Cabal. I think they went like 5-0 or 6-0 or something. They were running the Master of the World. I've seen a couple of lists floating around with some spicy Mephisto tech in it with Red Skull 1, which is kind of cool. Their win rate is really low. They're sitting at 43% overall. And Malekith somehow is dragging them up, but I kind of feel like Malekith is not in the right meta for himself. So I think they're probably maybe near the top of less super. What do you think, Omar?
I think I agree with you. I think that's an affiliation with some good basic building blocks, but it's missing a few things. I definitely think that they're missing another good 4 and probably another good 3. I will say I've played against Malekith relatively recently, and in the right circumstances, dude is terrifying, right? He definitely can't be your only leader on the list, because if you get put on a D shape or even a B shape, he's going to have a bad game. But I think as a threat, he's amazing, and he's definitely good for anything where it's kind of a bit more kind of scrunched up. Like McCran is wonderful. Even something like Meteors, he does very well there. And I think that Red Skull, Master of the World, with his leadership, it's so inherently good that there's always going to be value there, right? So I definitely think that it's something that someone can kind of dig deep in, and it's very interesting to hear about that tournament in Australia, because that makes perfect sense, right? Like there's stuff in Cabal, people just have to kind of work toward it, and I could see that as being one of the affiliations that benefit from these new defenders and web models that we're seeing, because they're just good models. And maybe that's enough to kind of push the needle for Cabal to kind of get the ball rolling with them again.
I also think a shout out, Loki 1 is always been really good into Web Warriors, and he's going to be even more good now. On the front side, costing them an extra power. They want to be doing all sorts of superpowers. And then on the back side, also stopping them from exploding crits, so their defense dice are less good, and they're hitting they're not hitting as hard. Like I think there's a lot of cool pieces there, and I think Mephisto slots in better there than a lot of other places. But right now, people who like Mephisto are just running the criminal syndicate stuff. I mean, I can't fault them for that because it's really good, but maybe when people get off of that, there's a little bit of exploration that'll go on.
A little bit of inventing new paths, a little bit of exploration, a little bit of forward thinking.
Yeah, I think that they're really close to having something special. They're just not there yet.
Okay, I buy that. And you guys, so is that where you want to put them? Is that
yeah,
the board?
I think the top of the
about...
super makes a lot of sense.
Okay, and any earth-shaking predictions for the foreseeable future for them, or more of like a, this could change given a tweak or a balance or something? You figure, Earth.
I mean, I think Master of the World is really good, and that leadership is kind of amazing. And you could slot in any one of these new characters, like especially with the ones that have the dice manipulation on their card that's not just rerolls. And, they could just blow up and start doing all sorts of amazing things. So I think any of these releases need to be looked at with Cabal all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think in 2026 in general, they have a couple of big releases coming out. Like they have Kang, they have Ironmonger. There's one other kind of big robot guy that's coming out for them. Any one of them could drastically change the way Cabal plays, right? I know they talked about Kang having some kind of weird time mechanic. That sounds terrifying, right? So I definitely think, again, 1 or 2 models away from just being incredible.
Yeah. Which is, like, honestly the sign of a pretty nice game, where it's like, even factions that aren't shining immediately are like 1 to 2 models away, which is always a nice place to be. I've played other games where it has not been like that, to say the least. Okay, so you guys are comfortable where they're at. What do you guys want to do next?
So we got Wizards next. I'm kind of thinking they're like top of good. They fell down from last time we were at, but I think they're also getting a little bit higher play rate now than they were last time. So it's pretty interesting. I think they're still good. They're coming in at 9th, but I think they're maybe even better than that.
So I agree with you there, and I think it's also important to point out they just won CarlCon, which is one of the kind of the bigger American tournaments out in California, maybe 2 weeks ago. So kind of hot off the presses. I definitely think they're really good. I think They're in desperate need of a new model just because they haven't got one in a very long time. But like their core foundation is incredible. Their leadership is great, and they splash things really well. I mean, one of the best things in the game right now is Shang-Chi, and surprise, surprise, he fits really well in with Convocation. So yeah, I agree with you. Right at the top of good. They are a solid affiliation, and if anyone has any kind of interest in playing with wizards, like jump right in because they are just very good and they're very, very annoying to play against.
And one of the cool things about them, so on one of the variant covers on the Game Store Guardians recently, Schmid came on and was talking with Mike about his Dracula-focused Convocation list, and he's obviously been doing really well with it, and has put a lot of time and a lot of reps into tailoring that list, and talked to everybody about it, and said like, hey, this is how I'm playing it, and this is what I'm doing. So then we come back to CarlCon, and Danny from Move Throw was playing something totally different. Right? He was playing a list that was doing something totally different. He was playing classic Doctor Strange with his glow up and really focusing on that 5-point character instead of focusing on Dracula. And it worked well for him. So now we've seen 2 really good builds out there that can do really well at large tournaments, that can do well against good opponents. So I think the sky's kind of the limit for them right now. And they're a lot of fun. Let's be honest, they're a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, I think they're a great affiliation, and you're right. The recent changes to Doctor Strange, the original, were a huge boon to them. He's now an incredible model, and he plays very different than the way Doctor Strange 2 plays.
Yeah, so it gives some good options there for sure.
If you guys had to highlight the things that they do best about making them like a playable but versatile faction, if you had to put your immediate finger on it for the layperson at home, what would you describe that being?
I think it's their leadership. Functionally, how it works is after every time they've been attacked, they can place themselves within range 1 of themselves. So that blends itself to theoretically anything, right? So you can take that kind of basic building block and build your list in a very different direction. You can do very kind of hostile, aggressive attrition. You could do very kind of scenario focused. So that flexibility in that leadership allows you to build really cool things. I think that's where a lot of the strength comes from.
Yeah, and I think a big thing to point out about placement in MCP is you can place edge to wherever, and if you have big bases, you can get a lot of movement out of place abilities like that, basically.
Yes.
For sure. For sure.
On
top of that, they got some really good tactics cards. The fact that their leadership isn't tied to a specific model, so you could do a whole bunch of different builds with them. They've got a couple of really good affiliated models, so Voodoo is maybe, to me, one of the best models in the game. I would definitely consider him an S-tier model. Magic with her glow up has been pretty good. That hit point for me seems to have done a lot. And we talked about Strange. So they've gotten some good buffs recently. They've gotten 0 nerfs, and they're really flexible and can do a lot and help any model out.
Yeah, I think that's a good description. All right, and you guys are comfortable with where they're at?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, top of good is perfect for them, I think.
Okay, what do we got next?
Next we got some guys stealing some stuff.
Ooh, thieves.
I'm gonna say this right now. They're not the best thing in the game, but they're so close the difference almost doesn't matter.
Yeah, they glue up to 3 this month, and when you look at the history, they've kind of like slowly bumped their way up, and they've got 2 extremely viable leaders who are doing totally different things. You're generally not seeing a list with both of them. I don't know that works all that well. But if you want the hyper scenario focused team, they are the best hyper scenario focused team with Kingpin leadership right now. And if you want a killy team, man, the whole Loki 2, Mephisto, Daredevil, Bullseye, Jank that they're doing, it's a lot of fun, man. It's a real lot of fun.
It seems pretty dope, honestly.
It's a war crime. I'm someone has to play
I
against
feel like
it a lot.
Omar's always the curmudgeon-y old man who's like, this is fucking bullshit. If anyone ever plays, if anyone also watching this plays Malifaux, talk to Omar about M310 Thunder's versatile models, and he will fucking flip out. It's really funny.
Yeah, those were dark times. Yeah, I think Criminal Syndicate are one of the few affiliations in the game who have two of the best leaderships in-house, right? And that in itself is incredible. They have just strong models in general, all according to plan, which is one of the only ways you can steal priority from your opponent is bonkers. It has always been bonkers, and they finally have been put in a situation where like they can do that reliably now. Plus, one of the new models being released, Echo, is Criminal Syndicate focused. Like I think I mentioned her previously, a very good, very killy, and fast 3-threat. So that they are in such a great position. I'm genuinely scared of them. I would, if they're not in the top 3 moving forward for the next couple months, I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to exactly how that super category shakes out as we go through the list, but they're going to be way up there. They're going to be way up there.
All right. You guys are comfortable with them there?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay. Where do you want to go next?
So some Big Daddy D. Where do you think Big Daddy D goes, Omar?
This is so weird because I think as a solo affiliation, it is full on talk water, right? Just terrible. But I think as an easy duel, there's real power in it. So I think less super makes a lot of sense. He has a really he's a really easy way to kind of cover some of your weakness, particularly if your main focus is being a scenario scoring team. He allows you to have a really easy ability to pivot toward being more attrition and being more kind of stand up and fight. There's value in that. He also, like, again, every time a new good 3-threat is added to the game, he inherently gets better because he has a tactics card that lets you bring one of those back from the dead. Still bonkers that that's a tactics card in this game, but whatever. I'll get over that. I know that there is a particular Inhumans list as well that utilizes him as your duel to make it so that you hate playing on both their secures and their extracts, which also is a war crime. Someone should tell the authorities about that.
Someone should inform the authorities.
Yes.
Yeah, I think his...
Is Big Daddy D what you call Dormammu?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that like a thing that Shane calls Dormammu, or is that a thing that the community at large calls Dormammu that Doug didn't know about?
No, I'm ashamed to say it's the latter.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
I'm just sanity checking.
I don't believe it's unique to me, but I mean, I love him. He's one of my favorite painted models. The dude's awesome. The model's awesome. I think
I'm getting the model just to paint it. Yeah. I have no interest in running the list, but it's going to be sweet to paint. So,
I think we saw some popularity with a couple of people running him as their duel and doing well in the 1 or 2 or 3 games that they ran him in. And a lot of other people have picked it up, which is why we've seen his ranking go down. But he still came in at 11th, but I don't think... I think the less super, like Omar said, maybe even top of less super, because he's like just getting ready to crack it. And like you said, he's always trying to find a way to break the new model coming out.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think his ability to duel and to be the pivot of a list is really powerful and really should not be underestimated.
All right. So that's where you guys want to put him for now? Or probably for the foreseeable. All right, cool. All right, what do you want to do next?
Next up, we've got some defenders. it's so funny. Their stats still aren't shaking out. I think last time we did this, I said, people are going to pick up on the strange stuff, and they're going to start playing it, and he's going to go up. And they dropped a little bit for July, went back up in August. They're coming in 14, but I think they're a lot better than that. Nobody's running Daredevil right now. The crisis changes worked in such a way that people aren't taking them, and it's possible that on an Incron shape or something like that or intrusions, that having a flex of the Daredevil is good. I just don't see him that often. But if you play against somebody who's good with the hex and get your whole team hexed by the end of turn 1, it is so frustrating, and it's just a bear to play against. And all of your plans go out the window because your expected damage values and your expected damage reduction just goes out the window. You got to recalculate everything you know about the game. And, I feel like we've seen a couple of people have some mediocre success with them to good success with them. And I think they're probably in the good category. We just haven't seen it play out like that. I don't know. What do you think, Omar?
I definitely think they're better than the stats are showing them. I think that new Old Strange is just incredibly powerful. I think he's opening up new play lines for models like Hawkeye, who essentially didn't exist 3 months ago, and now is seeing regular play in his list because, like you said, adding that hex is so backbreaking, especially if you do it round 1. It really kind of changes the dice math, and he's just a really powerful model. The ability to kind of heal, the ability to activate your opponent's model, he brings so much utility to the game. And I definitely agree. He's if I see a Strange-led Defenders roster across the table for me, I am going to get nervous, right? It just kind of.
I'm going to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's just a reality situation, right? It's very powerful. So I definitely agree. It's somewhere in good. Yeah, I'm fine where it currently is, kind of sitting in between Convocation and A-Force. I definitely think it has room to grow. And I believe one of the new models, Tigra, is in Defenders. So they could potentially kind of get better from there as well. She's not the most amazing model, but any new solid affiliated model kind of opens up new space.
Yeah, and I like the shout out you did to Hawkeye. When he gets a wild, all of a sudden him dropping 2 conditions on you and hopping away and then doing it to somebody else, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's real rough.
All right. Anything else before we move on?
Not for me. Not for me. I'm ready to fly the Milano out into space and see what we got.
What does that even mean?
It's the name of the Star-Lord ship.
Oh, okay. He's
Guardians of the Galaxy are next, Doug. It was a segue.
It was a segue. Got it.
It was a good segue too.
I've ruined everything. Oh man. I'm also dressing up as. I should know those. I'm dressing up as Star-Lord for Halloween, so I feel like I've extra failed now.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, it's a good costume.
It's gonna be a great costume. I'm very excited. I found a picture of Kevin Bacon on Amazon, like a black and white Kevin Bacon portrait, and I'm gonna try to pretend to have signed it and then crumpled up and be like, "Have you seen this man?" Trying to I've come back to the present day looking for Kevin Bacon. It's gonna be great. I'm really excited for that shtick. Anyway, go ahead, Shane.
So now that you've ruined the Guardians of the Galaxy for me, I think their stats, I guess, are fine. They come in at 17 for the month or something like that. They're still so up and down. The models that have gotten released recently for them, and I guess it's not that really recently lately, it just didn't do anything for him. Yondu's fine. He's a good model. Nova, I feel like, just isn't Juggernaut, and you should just play Juggernaut. He's less good Juggernaut. So they sitting at 19 in the list, and I feel like that's not far off where they should be at, and I think they're maybe the top of not near super.
I think they're an affiliation kind of in a holding pattern. Their game hasn't really kind of changed much since the Thanos nerf. They haven't really had a replacement. I've seen people try to play them wide, but I don't even think they're necessarily the best at that. Even though they have really good, cheap affiliated models, the one leadership they have doesn't lend itself to being wide, right? Because it can only work for 3 models any given round. So that's kind of inherently limiting. I do think they have a bunch of big releases coming up later in 2026 that could fundamentally change them. I think they've even kind of hinted, though, take this with a grain of salt, because AMG has a tendency to talk about leaderships and not add them to models. But they've even kind of mentioned that I forgot the guy's name.
Star-Lord?
No, Warlock. Adam Warlock. Thank you. Wow, that's bad. Adam Warlock will have a leadership as well as having a kind of like new way to interact with the gems system. So I'm really excited for that, even though I don't really have a huge passion for them, just because I think that can be a lot of fun. Like the gems desperately need some kind of updating of some way. So if that's what Adam Warlock is bringing, then I think that's really good for the game in general.
I love Guardians of the Galaxy. They're like one of my favorites. I'm painting them right now as we're talking. Like, that's what I'm currently working on. / Brandon is helping me with. These guys are great. They're the best. That's what I have to say about them.
Yeah, so I think they're going to be in not near super. I think maybe they're towards the top of not near super. But we'll see how it shakes out once we get some more not near supers.
All right.
Speaking of other not near supers,
well,
we've got the Hellfire Club. I don't know. That's kind of where I got them. How about you, Omar? What are you thinking with them?
Pitch me on why they're not in Toxwater.
Yeah,
that's what I'm kind of thinking.
Emma's leadership is still really good, man. It is still really good. You can play. So, Mystique's a pretty good model, right? Psylocke is a pretty good model. So you got an 11-point core. You add a Bill and a Toad, and there's your 17 points. And you're doing the same thing you used to do. Yeah, it was better when, Mystique was Luke Cage. Sure. But, instead of Bill and Toad, maybe you have Luke Cage and Black Cat. You still got one of the coolest leaderships in the game, and it really helps a lot of different models. It's a super turd polishing leadership. Emma's fine.
I've never heard that terminology before, by the way. That's a good one. Turd
really?
polishing.
It's high level competitive talk, turd polishing.
Turd polishing. Technical terminology. Danger Planet tactical team. Go ahead.
So, she's a boring model, but she's fine, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with her. She does 4 points worth of stuff. If you're making a 4-point list, she's probably like in the bottom of the middle-ish of the 4-point list. So she's still in like that fine category. Like, you're not splash her anywhere, but she's acceptable. And I think Mystique is actively good. I think the Lady Mastermind Mystique Emma list is really bad, and don't do that.
Yeah, I agree with you that the name of the list is very fun. It's being called Shape Sisters because the name of the superpower is Shape Shifters. That's fun. I really like that. The actual list itself is not very good.
Is trash.
Yeah. Like, not having reaction sounds really cool until you realize that none of them have powers that you want to react to. So
I'm with you on not near super. I think that's fine, and I will throw out the kind of little potential upside of both Mr. Sinister, who's in the affiliation, and Emma are being actively looked at for potential buffs or just changes down the line. Theoretically, they could nerfed. I'd be surprised, but it's possible. So if those two models get buffed, then the leadership, the affiliation itself looks a lot better, right? Because as you mentioned, she's kind of like a middle, maybe below middle tier model. A lot of the models in her affiliation are around that. So if they just get a couple of really kind of strong models you can kind of build around, more Psylocke level models, who's a very kind of solid model, I think they can be really good. It is one of the best leaderships in the game. I think they're also really due for tactics cards now that they're not just one of those take anything affiliations. I think if they get a couple of good tactics cards as well as a couple of good character buffs, they can be really good, right? Because the leadership is way too good for them to be truly terrible. So yeah, okay, I can agree with not near super. I think that's fair.
All right, not near super.
Yeah, so we're going to cut off some heads here, but they're going to grow back. And we're going to talk about the Hydra. They surprisingly have a really high win rate. They're sitting at 6 overall for last month, but the month before they were at 22nd. So, there's definitely a lot going on there with Hydra as far as the level of play that they're getting.
So I think part of the issue with Hydra and their kind of seesawing of stats is they just don't have a ton of games played. It's not a particularly popular affiliation, so I think it's really easy for that to kind of jump around. I think they have one of the best models in the game as one of their leaders, Red Skull 2, with his grunts, also war crimes, and you can say that both kind of in fiction and in reality. I think they're a pretty solid building block. Again, they're kind of just waiting for potentially a few good models, but I think more importantly for them, just some good tactics cards, right? So much of an affiliation's identity is dependent on their tactics cards, and theirs are just silly, almost like meme cards, right? The World Domination is an incredible card if you can pull it off, but if you can pull it off, you probably already won the game, right? So like it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So yeah, I think like maybe not super, maybe even the two we have below that, like they're not terrible, but they're just not great. I think, yeah, it's also, I don't know, I don't really care about Hydra. I think Cabal is more interesting just because they have more interesting leaderships in there and better cards. It's kind of hard to get excited about Hydra, the other evil affiliation with less fun or interesting models and cards.
Yeah, I think if we saw the play rate of Apocalypse go up, and if we saw the play rate of Strange One go up, Strange One Defenders, I think all of a sudden you would see Strucker jump to the top. But with those affiliations being around, but sprinkled in and lower than like the Avengers affiliations, I don't see Strucker being amazing. Like Apocalypse, I guess, was still like third or fourth in play rate. So maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, it's. I don't know. I guess Hydra's on the lower table, so they don't see Apocalypse all that much.
Well, so I played against Strucker Hydra a couple times as Apocalypse. I used to run Apocalypse quite often, and what I found was, right, like, yeah, theoretically, you're absolutely correct. That leadership almost hard counters the Apocalypse leadership, but it really doesn't matter if you just kill them, right? There's a certain kind of like dice quality that Apocalypse and really any good affiliation will bring that'll just take Strucker off the table. It's not a particularly tanky model, and then you don't really care about how the leadership counters your models, right? So I think, again, they got some good building blocks there. I do think Strucker is both a good model and his leadership is really interesting and potentially powerful. They just need a little bit of kind of help, and hopefully they get that soon, right? I really want Hydra to be good outside of Red Skull too.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. All right, so you're happy with where they're at?
Yeah, we'll drop them in the middle, less super. Like, I don't know. Even though their win rate is above that, I feel like that's kind of where they're at.
It's fine. Hot takes for days. We're about to cause a riot on the internet.
I don't think so. All 5 Hydra players might be upset in a corner.
I don't think so. I think there's going to be a riot on the internet about this. Reddit's going to be on fire. All right. What do you want to do next?
Next faction, Space Mutants, we talked about last time, kind of ad nauseum. They're the best thing in the game. They were the best thing in the game. They're still the best thing in the game. The they got some really good models. They got some really good tactics cards that came out this year, and Black Bolt's leadership has always been good at turning on just about anybody, and now they have in-faction models to turn on. Yeah, I don't know. Do you disagree, Omar, that they're still the best thing in the game?
No, I think they absolutely are, and I think if anything, they're a textbook example of how something can be broken for a long time and just not kind of played enough people to realize it, and then the second something encourages their play, that broken nature comes out in just waves, right? And I'm talking specifically about Terra Genesis, a tactics card they have, where if the dice work out, and it's not that hard to do, it could easily be a 4 VP swing. In a game where you're capping out at 16, that's what you need to win, essentially. That's a huge swing. So I definitely think they're. I just think they're too good, right? They definitely need some tuning down. I think they have arguably the most interesting and most fun leadership in the game, and that really hurts me to say because I hate those Walmart mutants so much. Oh my god, I hate that. But the leadership is incredible. It's fun. I think Black Bolt is one of the most is arguably the best murder model in the game, and he also has an incredible bodyguard. Whoever designed this model was crazy, but they're definitely the best thing in the game. I think they'll continue being the best in the game because they're also super flexible. So yeah, I really hope someone takes them off their ledge. APOC tried for a while, and I just don't think they're in the same stratosphere, unfortunately. Even though we'll get to it in a second, but I also think APOC is amazing, but I think there's different levels of it now.
Do you think it's just like triple S tier, and these guys are the cheese, and the cheese stands alone?
Yeah,
currently?
I absolutely.
Yeah, they definitely made a deal with the devil, and unfortunately, the devil gave them his deal, and he himself, I think, is going into Tox Dogwater.
Yeah. So, okay, Legion of the Lost is a weird leadership because I think Mephisto is an incredible model. But the actual leadership is really bad. And I appreciate what they tried to do because it's another power leadership, and that was such a huge problem with Hellfire. So I think they did a good job of making sure this leadership didn't break the game, but they're a little bit too careful, and now it's just bad. It's kind of hard to judge these open affiliations because you never want them to actually be competitively good. Right, because it kind of kills some of the flavor of the game if you're literally taking anything and making it work. But it would be nice if it's just a little bit better.
Yeah, I think you make a good point, Omar. It's hard to adequately balance these like massively open models and leaders, because it's like, oh man, then if it's just the best all the time, then why not just take this all the time, right? And then kind of lose motivation to actually play your faction or your affiliation.
And that was literally the case with Hellfire Club for a couple of years, right? So like they've learned their lesson, thankfully. But yeah, it just kind of put him and we'll get to him in a little bit, Dracula, in a weird position because they're just not competitively viable, unfortunately.
Shane?
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing else to say. That guy's got one tactics card that's good. The rest of them are like super flavorful, but not great. And the tactics card doesn't need to be played in his affiliation. So, like, why play his affiliation? Why not just play him somewhere else that's going to buff him? You know, like I said before, Cabal's got some cool stuff. Like Skull One being able to, if you could get like 3 people into the beam, you can like beam once and gain enough power off of that to beam a second time. Like, and his beam is really good. You know, in Criminal Syndicate with the rerolls from Daredevil, like all of a sudden when you're throwing 6 attacks a turn with rerolls, and then you know you've got the power to do his burn ability afterwards, it's like, oh my god, you know, this guy's putting on a ridiculous amount of damage. And in his own affiliation, he's like, cool guys, I walked up here.
I'm here.
I did it.
I showed up.
You know, so
yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because obviously I wonder if he's meant to be played more as a leader or meant to be played more as an include into other lists, honestly.
It feels to me like the leadership and the tactics cards were something that they came up with where they were like, all right, here's a whole bunch of these cool mini games, and here's some good stuff you can do. It'll be fine. It won't be the best, but this guy's actually not a bad model.
Yeah.
And if somebody else turns him on, he can do a whole bunch of really good things. It's probably a little bit unexplored. He could probably be like the focus model in a Professor X type list. Or even Cyclops, where he's handing out power and doing 3 attacks a turn. All of a sudden, him handing out 3 power every time he activates is pretty cool.
Don't tempt me with more Cyclops ideas. I don't need to do that.
Omar's like scribbling that down in his notebook.
And
with his
Cyclops can field leader him into place. Do I got you here, Omar?
Yeah, Omar's like,
I got the acrylic Cyclops card, and it's doing everything in my power to not play that dude because it's not good, but it's so much fun.
wow. That's funny.
Yeah, I think on this guy here, the clock has struck midnight, and it's just time to move on.
Sure. So you're happy with where you have him?
Yeah, he's full on Toxwater.
Okay.
He's the top of Toxwater, though.
He's the very top of the bowl of Talk to Dogs, Talkwater.
Yeah. And
Okay.
you ruined the segue again, Doug.
Oh.
The
Sorry.
next faction is Midnight Sons.
Oh, I see. I got it.
You got it. You did it.
Yeah.
You did it. You got
There
it.
you go. Very
Got
smooth. We rehearsed this, folks. We did.
What's your opinion on the Midnight Sons, Omar?
I think they're good, and I both mean that kind of like in a general sense and also in the kind of tier list sense. I'm looking at the data now from kind of Soren's blog, and like I don't understand why they're not doing better, because they have really good things. The one issue that they're running into now, I guess it's kind of on both ends, where that affiliation has a slight weakness to energy-based attacks, right? Particularly the leadership with Blade, he can be really kind of squishy. Black Bolt is the best energy attacker in the game, bar none. And Apocalypse is an incredible energy attacker because he can choose any type, and this Spender is just straight up energy. Those are two of the most popular things in the game right now, so that makes things difficult for them. I totally recognize that. Also, Elsa, who kind of came out a couple months ago, just not very good. I think just really interesting, and I will say I got my ass handed to me by someone playing Elsa and Loki 1 for like a double root bubble, which absolutely just broke my spirit, broke my hope for the world.
Broke me as a man.
Yeah, but I think that it's a really rough kind of affiliation to play into the current meta, just because of the two big dogs really like eating Blade, and that's real rough because Blade does not like to get eaten.
Yeah, I think it's funny when I look at their stats for the last month versus some of the really top stuff. So, like, they got a 23% win rate against Apocalypse, a 43% win rate against Web Warriors, a 43% win rate against Criminal Syndicate. I think some of the popular stuff and some of the good stuff is stuff that they're not good into, which is what's keeping their stats down. I also think there's a group of people who play Immortal Hulk, the faction, and that's not the
I know
way
my
to
friend
approach
Ian
it.
does.
Yes.
I know my friend Ian does.
Like, he's good, don't get me wrong, and he's got a lot of different applications, and you can win a lot of games with Immortal Hulk if you pick the right times. I know I've lost some games recently against Midnight Sons people with Immortal Hulk.
He's quite the ridiculous, like I think sometimes like people see him and they're like, oh my god, and then they panic, because he causes panic as a thing.
But when factions have the ability to deal with him,
yeah,
he becomes like a non-factor.
Yeah,
right.
And he's a very expensive non-factor to have hired.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I think they're better than what the stats say. I think they're also popular because people like monsters and stuff.
What is your just as a quick aside? What is your take on the je ne sais quoi for controlling the large angry green man?
I mean, the biggest thing you can do is take stuff that's going to throw them. Apocalypse is doing well into them because they're applying poison root and, you know, kind of ignoring him and killing the people around him, right? You can once you get Blade out, and now Hulk is sad in a corner, sitting there with like root poison because you've rotated away from him, and he's got to chase you down, so he's only getting like one attack and can't build the power to do throws and all this other stuff. Um, yeah, I don't know.
So you're saying manipulate his movement or like really far away, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like, Bill is the worst thing he hates seeing across the table, right?
I love playing Bill into iHulk. It's so much fun.
Especially when you're like, haha, not only am I going to throw him away medium, but I'm going to throw him away medium into your other person. Like, oh, Black Cat, take that size 4 to the face. I hope you dodge.
Tonk. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if you're not playing I Hulk the faction and you really spread out, I think they've got some really cool stuff. They got some really powerful models, and I think they are much better than being in 16th place. And I personally believe like they're towards the top of good. What do you think, Omar?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think maybe below Convocation, but I think otherwise, yeah, I think they're good, and I think they will adapt into the meta itself. Like I think they have to play less iHulk, and some people don't like that, but I think it's the reality of the situation. And they just explore, right? Like I know a lot of Midnight Sons players use Red Skull 2 because him and his grunts are incredible with the bump. I think it's really powerful. I think they have arguably the best 16 threat team in the game, which has value even though you can't be forced to play 16 threat. And they do well. I definitely think in a couple months we'll see them with a much better kind of a win rate. I just think they're in a rough position with Black Bolt just kind of eating their dinner.
Eating their dinner. Drinking their milkshake. Straight up bullying. Shane, do you feel any differently?
No, I think that's where we're at, and I think it's pretty good. And I think they are much better than what we see there.
All right. Then if you gentlemen feel confident and comfortable, then I too feel confident and comfortable. Let us forge on courageously through this tier list.
All right. To hit something new, we got some New Mutants. We saw earlier in the year, Connor, I think his name's Connor, right? From one of the guys from Rapid Fire, and they talk about it on their podcast. Took a fairly large event with New Mutants and did really well. And there have been some spatterings of people who followed that advice, and then quickly it all got shut down. They're back down at 27th in the list. They were up to 5th in July. But I think, do you think not near super? Do you think Tox Dogwater? What are you thinking, Omar?
I think this is another Tox Dogwater. Unfortunately, I love the New Mutants. Arguably, my favorite kind of comic run was the original kind of Claremont's New Mutants, and they are terrible to play. They have a great leadership, and they have no models in Affiliation that want to use leadership at all. It's mind-blowing to me how that was designed. They are getting some new models soon in 2026. Hopefully that kind of changes things up. But yeah, it was heartbreaking to me to like imagine what they were going to be and then see what I got and then have to like live in that reality, right? That was bad. Yeah, they're just like, can you make them work? Probably. But you would be playing them with like, okay, I'm going to bring Hulk. I'm going to bring Red Skull. I'm going to bring all the really good meta pieces and just hope those models are good enough to carry this terrible Affiliation. So I think it's in of itself a sign that things are not good in the New Mutants classroom.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, I would play Iceman and Gwenom with him, and Iceman uses the leadership, and all of a sudden the person's taking a slow and then maybe a damage afterwards. Gwenom, if she's got the powers, hopping in and clapping back. So maybe that kind of stuff is working, but at the end of the day, they're probably pretty bad.
I like the New Mutant comic books as well, honestly. I feel like you and I both read a bunch of those comic books as when we were younger, Omar. And the world was a simpler place. All right, you guys feel comfortable with them there? I'm inclined to agree with you. I don't have any earth-shaking comments on that one, to be honest. So
Yeah, I mean,
I don't play them, and I don't see them played that much. So, you know, I don't know if there's.
I mean, I have all the models, and I'm finished painting them up soon, and I'm still just not going to put them on the table anymore.
But it's Mo because like you are like everything X-Men, right?
I love my mutants, and again, like even within that, the New Mutants are my favorite flavor of mutants of X-Men, and they're just terrible here.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That's fine. I accept that.
You could say in those old comic books that they were like the guardians or protectors of certain portions of mutant kind, almost like they were a sentinel. And if they were a sentinel,
are we doing?
They would be at the. Are they above Black Order?
Yeah, I'm gonna say they're above Black Order just because their models are cooler, right?
Their models are so cool. Honestly, can we put them above Black Order because they're just super cool models? I'm gonna get Sentinels just to paint them because they're cool.
Yeah,
Here's the deal.
I'm saying they're above Black Order because they're cool.
I played a game of my Web Warriors against one of my locals who loves Sentinels and was playing Sentinel Prime with lefty and righty, and we were on Superpower Scoundrels.
And you lost?
And we pulled Superpower Scoundrels. I'm like, this is amazing. I got my Web Warriors. I'm ready to go. I'm gonna like grab all the extracts and be on the Superpower Scoundrels. I'm like, why is he taking Superpower Scoundrels? And then he used Directive 1 on turn 2 and eliminated 3 of my models.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh, I don't get the cover. I don't get the rerolls. This is so bad for Web Warriors.
Melted
So
you.
I think with the Web Warriors meta coming up, we might see them.
Oh, I hope we do.
Weird comeback.
I hope we do. I hope we do. I hope some Brave Soul spikes some tournament. I hope.
Yeah,
I hope so, man.
So
I don't know.
We know that they're getting like a kind of full remake.
Yeah, come February they're going to be good
for their handful of models, and they're getting a bunch of new models, including the kind of like capstone model for the Crisis, right? Like one new model come with the kind of Crisis new Crisis set. Last time it was Gladiator. Now it's going to be Omega Sentinel 475 Prime. DoorDash, whatever their naming scheme is.
Terrible. Oh, the guy that looks like a fast food mascot, right? With the really weird octagon-y boxy head.
Yeah.
He looks like a fast food mascot. Or that's what I always thought. He looks like he could be like a non-denominational Pizza Hut alternative mascot to me. You guys know what I'm talking about, though, right? Like I'm not crazy, right?
Okay. Yeah, I mean you are crazy, but we know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So I do think they're poised to be like at least solid. And I think once that happens, a lot of people are going to play them, because they just really like the models, that they have nostalgia with them. But I think also a lot of people hate mutants, and this is going to be the excuse to kind of try to kill and hunt down mutant players. So I'm really kind of excited for their glow, because again, they have beautiful models.
Yeah,
they're
but
massive.
Now
they're so cool.
They're talk the dog water. Sorry, they're talk the dog water. But we can agree they're cool, and we all love them. So because of that, and it's our tier list. Stand back, the internet. We're putting them in front of Black Order.
And come February, the world is going to end.
Yeah, they'll probably actually be really good in February. You'll see. We'll make a list and we'll say something about it. It'll be crazy. Everyone will lose their minds. All right, what we got next, gentlemen? Or I guess.
So the world is going to end because it's the Servants of Apocalypse.
The setups are so bad. It's so bad. Okay, yeah, sure. Go.
I can't help it, man. It's all I got. I do not have a.
No, yeah, keep it. No, these are amazing. We gotta keep doing these. If we maintain this throughout the whole thing, man, we're really gonna have something. Lightning in a bottle, gentlemen.
Yeah,
all right,
for sure.
Servants of Apocalypse.
Servants of Apocalypse. I think they're really good. I think they're still super good. I think this month they came in at I don't know, like 4th or whatever. They're still top of the game. They are not Inhumans. Are they above criminals? Are they below criminals? I don't know. What do you think, Omar?
So I agree with you. They are one of the best things in the game. They have been for a while now. They're really powerful. I think that in my mind, it's Inhumans as a kind of level above, and then Criminal Syndicate / Apocalypse as that next spot. And the order is like dealer's choice. It really doesn't matter. They're both really powerful. They play really differently, and they're good at different things. So like they'll handle meta shifts very differently. And I think that Apocalypse is a bit more dependent on the kind of current crisis setup. I think if things get more kind of scrunched up, or if they slow down in terms of scoring rate, I think he'll struggle in a way that Criminal Syndicate won't, because they have so much kind of inbuilt flexibility. But they're easily one of the best things in the game. They are a real pain to play against because of how kind of crippling their condition game can be. But I will say this: I give a lot of shit to AMG. I think they have some kind of fundamental issues with how they design characters. But Skirmish Apocalypse is easily my favorite affiliation, design-wise. It's so cool. I really appreciate how much it pushes you to play affiliated and thematic lists. Again, it's very powerful, but I think it's a great kind of step for them. And while I don't want them to do the same exact thing for the Infinity Gems, I would love for them to get same time and attention that Apocalypse and his Horsemen got design-wise, right? Because they pull that off beautifully.
It feels like it would make sense, like when you're thinking from like a lore and fandom standpoint. It's like these could be the different gem bearers, and like here's their different effects, kind of like how they had options for the different horsemen. You know, even just like mirroring the, like how they present in the story and stuff. Like, or rather the canon. I agree with that. I think that's a solid take.
I was hoping when we saw Thanos rework that's what we were going to get, that they were going to say Thanos's leadership on the front side is you can assign gems to anybody who can get the gems. But we didn't get that. So Apocalypse, 2-3 spot?
I honestly don't think it matters. I will say that if you're looking to play the best thing in the game, then you are playing either Inhumans, Apocalypse, or Criminal Syndicate. I think what you want to play is based on what models you like most, the playstyle you like the most. But I think like those three are good. Let's say 5%, 4% above anything else, right? And is that a small number? Yes, because the things are relatively close in MCP, but they're still, I think, really, really good.
Fair enough. I mean, like, he's not completely crazy, to be fair. The man's putting a stake in the ground, but the stake is not so far, reaching here. I kind of agree with him, honestly. What do you think?
Maybe one day we'll see the Guardians of Apocalypse raise their shield.
Oh, is this did we do it again? Is this
I did it again.
Transition?
I did it again.
Man, you're a master of your craft, Shane.
Yeah, sure. Yep. I am not quitting my day job yet.
No. I think you should. This is our lifetime.
This is peak YouTube content.
Yeah, 100%. Go ahead.
So Shield's got some really cool stuff. It's awesome that you get Fury's leadership while you're running Namor's leadership, because Fury's leadership is eye in the sky. It's not whatever is printed on his card. That thing that's printed on his card is cool, I guess, but
not relevant.
Not relevant. I think Namor's got a couple of small problems with like maybe some of the biggest things in the game, but overall it's really good. Turns out, I mean, Namor is one of the best models in the game. Shield's got some good affiliated models. Giving people rerolls and unlocking skulls is cool. And you've got Eye on the Sky on demand, and arguably the best or second best grunts in the game in faction, and I think it's good level.
I agree with you. It's good level. I think Shield grunts are definitely second best. nothing beats Red Skull grunts. God, they're so fucked up. It's just okay. I think Shield has a number of advantages that'll make them really good in the upcoming meta. Like you said, they generally play this kind of double reroll bubble, so they're looking at like 2 or 3 rerolls every attack, which obviously kind of helps their attack consistency. They have Agent Venom in Affiliation, who's inherently good against Web Warriors because he slaps defensive rerolls, so that'll definitely help. I also think kind of something that's an indirect assistance, but I think it should be pointed out here, is they have a champion, right? They have a player plays at a very high level and just loves that affiliation, so is always kind of willing to put the time. Now, he's definitely not the only person who has this, right? There are a lot of people who have their kind of pet affiliation, who also happen to be very good. But I think having someone for that is wonderful, right? I'm talking about Vincent Kirchhoff, who has his own kind of podcast and YouTube channel. They're very good stuff, but I think having that kind of champion really makes a difference, right? I know that as someone who plays a lot of X-Men, having someone like that on the X-Men side is great. Someone I can kind of talk to, bounce ideas off of. So having someone who's willing to kind of do that kind of legwork to say, hey, I'm going to test a lot of weird shit and see what sticks. I think that really helps them. And again, they came second in CarlCon. They very easily could have come first. That was a really close game. So I think they're really kind of well poised. Plus, they really love clumped up crises, and this is the exact opposite what we currently have. So once that changes again, I think they're going to get even better. So they're in a phenomenal situation. I think they're just kind of waiting in the wings to pounce, like a little bug thing. I ran out of space in that analogy.
His brain was working. Omar's brain was working so fast, and he was putting out so much relevant information. And then he got to the very end where it was like, and now make an analogy. And Omar's like his brain just sputters out. It's all right, Omar. We got you, man. You did a great job. We understand. Everything you said right up until that last part made tons of sense. Okay. It actually did. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I would have completed your analogy for you, but I think it's better that we just leave it unfinished for the internet. So,
you better watch out, Doug. You keep talking to Omar like that, and he's going to become one of your foes.
Is this also a setup for Spider Foes?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Cool. Yeah. I like it. You're doing it with confidence now too. It's good. You gotta have confidence if you're gonna be like absurdly cheesy about everything.
Yeah, I mean, look, if it weren't for dad jokes, there would be no jokes at all, right?
I agree. And you're a dad, so like that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's totally
acceptable. All right. I mean, I love Spider Foes. I literally got them so that I could recreate the cartoon shows of the old Spider-Man because I like competitively have, the Spider people. So I feel like having the Spider Foes was important. Plus, all their characters are awesome. But how do we feel about them competitively? Is it because they're not awesome? Probably.
They've got some really, really characterful models. And the models do exactly what it says on the tin, right? Like, other than the fact that like Shocker doesn't hand out Shocker or whatever, and like at the end of the day, they kind of do what they say on the tin. They're all specialists. Prowler, I think, is going to be a big glow up for them.
Yeah, I'm excited for Prowler.
Which makes me want to put them in good instead of less super. I think he's going to add a dimension to them. Recently on Cable's Conquests, they walked through. One of their players did really good at a recent event, at a large event. So it might be good to go listen to that. They've definitely got some good game. I think Strategic Retreat is, like, honestly, it's a banned card and a restricted card is one. Like, how could you not want to take that? I think weirdly they are good into Web Warriors, or my experience is they're good into Web Warriors, because Ox Leadership doing the reroll after you've seen the defense dice kind of wipes out what's going on with some of the defensive, some of the spider senses. So I think design-wise, that's a really cool space where they kind of did the, okay, you're doing that, but I'm countering what you're doing. And Yeah, I think they've got some scenario game. I think there's
I think another part of their play, in my experience, because I've played both of these factions, is that they've got like they're kind of like the factions that have a whole bunch of characterful 3-drops. Is that fair to say? Like, there's a lot of like characterful. Is that a word? Am I making up a word?
yeah, no, that's a fine word.
Yeah. But like 3-drops, right? Like a couple that come to mind for me that I really like are like I really like Craven. I really like Lizard. I really like is the old guy in the green suit.
Vulture. Actually,
is Vulture a 3-drop or a 4-drop? I can't remember.
Vulture is a 3. He's terrible, but he is a 3-drop.
I love him though. I know. But
That's a
I
good
actually Lizard and Craven are legit. Like, those guys are pretty good.
I also think Mysterio is a great model. So I think
That's crazy. You're crazy.
no. I think we've hit a point now in the meta where we can admit Spider Foes are just good, right? Like, not good asterisk, not good sometimes. I just think they're good. I think the changes to Carnage had a much bigger effect than I expected. He is a genuine threat now. His ability to heal an insane amount of damage and also do damage himself is incredible. He's one of those models where you see him across the table and you get scared, right? You need a plan for him or you will lose, and he's only 4th threat. I think that they are one of the best designed affiliations in terms of someone translating how they behave in the comic or even the TV show into kind of model rules, right? They're not the strongest, but the theme really comes out. And like you said, Shane, they do really well into Web Warriors because they have lots of ways to do damage that aren't attacks or throws. Things that get fully around all the rerolls, right? And at the end of the day, the Web Warriors don't have a huge health pool. They're just really good at not taking damage in the first place. So if you get around those kind of defensive mechanics, they go down pretty quick. So I really like Spider Foes now. And
plus they natively have Rhino also. Big point.
Yeah, Rhino's a lot of fun. His card is a lot of fun. Plus they're coming out in their own starter box. I think either next month or a month after that. I'm definitely going to pick it up because I don't have any of those models yet, and I want to paint them, if nothing else. So I think we're in the Spider Foes meta. Even if no one wants to kind of admit it, I'll say it. I'll be the brave one. I think they're good, right? And I think, at this point, they can easily win an event. It would not surprise me if someone says, "Oh, Spider Foes won LVO next month or won a big, online league or something like that." I can easily believe it. I think they're just really solid now.
You best start believing in Spider Foe stories because you're in one. Quote Omar.
Yeah.
New York Times front page.
I'm gonna get sued for copyright infringement on that one. That's
yeah, probably. Shane,
special shout out here. Silk, I think, replaces Cassandra Nova in a Trap House list if that's the style of Spider Foes you want to go for. I think she's just a better 1-for-1 replacement, which is sad that you replace a 5 with a 4 threat. I'd probably rather play Silk and play a threat down. But so just special shout out on that.
And you're talking about the new box that, as of time of recording, was last week or this week that was revealed, which is Silk, and it has Spider-Man 2099. And also,
so it's Silk, Spider Noir, and Spider Ham.
Yeah. And then Spider-Man 2099 and one other Miles is going to be in the other box.
Yeah, and Prowler is in that box as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good shout out and good call out. Very relevant, right? Because do we know what the release date on that box is?
So it's been pushed back, and because of tariffs and stuff, it's supposed to hit UK in September. But it'll probably hit America in December or something, even though it's still slated for October.
Around holidays, basically.
Yeah, it's slated for October, but my hopes and dreams on that are really low.
My hopes and dreams are low, and my hopes and dreams and expectations, much like all of adulthood, are rock bottom.
Yep.
Shane. Savage.
So, I feel like we've drained all the blood out of that one.
Okay. Okay. to
to the Thralls of Dracula.
Oh, he did it. Okay. All right,
Yeah.
cool. I get it. All right. See?
Yeah.
He's a master. You can't teach this at home, kids. You can't
Professional podcasting
Professional podcasting right here to the 400 people that will listen to us.
there.
All right. Thralls of Dracula. I assume we're going to talk about how it has very much the same problem as Mephiston, and that is also a poopy face, but comes with a cool piece of scenery if you decide to buy it.
I think it's slightly better. I don't know if that's good enough to get it out of Tox water, but I do think it's better. I think it's easier to kind of build around. I think I'm also slightly biased because there's a guy in the kind of MCV community named Alan who has been trying to make this work for months now, and at a certain point, you just have to respect the hustle. Right, so I want them to be good.
The hustle moves it up a tier.
Yeah, I don't think they're good. I think bleed is being able to spread bleed is fine. I think it's arguably the worst condition, and also one of the conditions people are most immune to. Right, so it's a really kind of weird leadership, but I do think Dracula himself is really good. And I think this is one of those situations where he's much better in someone else's leadership than his own, but it's not terrible. And I think it's kind of a great card to add to your roster of 10 tactics cards, just because it kind of costs your opponent mental energy to figure out if you are going to pivot to that. I sometimes think that's worth just a tactics card slot. So yeah, I think it's fine.
Just to mess with people because you're a terrible person, Omar.
Yeah, no, 100%, right? Yeah, I'll take whatever advantage I can get. Yeah,
okay.
So yeah, I think it's the best of the worst, right? Not to also get another kind of copyright infringement claim. But I do think that's where it kind of fits. It's fine. It's actually kind of fun, but yeah, it's just not good.
Whatever you do, man, just don't mention three-peats. All right.
It's just also another transition that I've.
No. That's the copyright infringement. All
okay.
of us old people remember the Chicago Bulls and the three-peat situation. Somebody will get that. I swear, some uncanny individual will remember that one.
Crickets playing in the background. Everyone looks at each other. Omar and I look at each other. We're very confused.
Brandon, insert crickets here.
Yeah, Brandon, insert the crickets here. And if you don't, we'll know that you weren't actually paying attention when you were editing this. This is a test, Brandon.
Yeah.
2-1. This is a test. All right. Okay.
So that uncanny individual probably was from New York and lived in a mansion upstate.
Okay. How are we going to... Okay, where is this going for the transition?
It's another transition.
No, I know.
To the Uncanny X-Men.
Yes.
Oh, to Charles Xavier's school for
gifted children
in upstate New York. Yeah.
X-Men are weird because they're so close to my heart that it's hard for me to be objective.
It's hard for me to be objective as tier. Omar.
I think currently, right now, they have one good leadership. I'm kind of going against someone I truly believe in Vodka Simon, because he thinks the Cyclops list has legs. I don't. I've played it a bunch, and it just ain't for me. I just don't think it does enough. That being said, I think Professor X is really good and pretty flexible, so I think it is solid. I definitely think it's somewhere in like bottom of good, top of not good, right? And I think I'd probably put it in good just because like it's fine. Like you can do really cool stuff with it. I personally am really excited about splashing some of the kind of new models kind of coming in from the new kind of webs releases. Like I think Ultimate Spider-Man or Spider-Man is going to be incredible there. I also really love Echo there. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. And they still have some of the best tactics cards in the game, right? Like people still get angry when you play Xavier's Dream because it's such a great way to just remove their ability to hurt you once, right? So yeah, I think they're solid. I think they are really, really hoping they get a good release. Phoenix was the worst model experience I've ever had in my entire life. Granted,
the emotional highs and lows.
I was waiting for just
I have like support groups with people on Discord where every so often someone say, "Oh, I just played another Phoenix game. It was absolutely terrible, dude," and we just kind of like hug and cry, like it's so bad. But if we pretend she wasn't released, and we just get excited for the future, I am going to lose my shit when Jubilee comes out. I'm gonna be so happy. So like, they're fine, and I think in the future they could be a little bit better. But yeah, please, Angie, please don't ruin Jubilee. I really need this to be good. Please.
I really need this to be good. Emotionally, please. Don't fuck me on this one. Signed, Omar. It's like a letter to Santa, except it's Omar writing to AMG, like, crazed out of his mind at, like, 1 a.m. on a Saturday, hawked up on Mountain Dew and Doritos. I love it. We love it here. Okay, Shane, anything else about X-Men that Omar hasn't covered?
No, I think Storm's probably better than Omar's given her a look for, but that time may have passed, and maybe we'll see it again soon.
Okay, are you guys both happy with where we're at from a placement perspective?
Yeah, I think we have her at the very bottom of good, which is fine, right? They're holding on.
Sure. Yeah. Rip what could have been if Jean Grey had been a good model. Omar, another 20-minute rant. All right, what are we doing for the next? What do we got here for the next transition, Shane?
I ain't got nothing, man. For Wakanda, like we're taking a trip out to Africa to flee.
Isn't it Wakanda?
Sure.
Wakanda.
Wakanda, man.
That's like okay. All right.
The most Connecticut.
The most Connecticut way to say Wakanda of all time. All right.
No, I think that if I remember right, that comes from like episode 2 of Across the Bifrost when TT was still doing it with Pat, like long before where it is now. And
he's like Wakanda.
I think that comes from Colorado.
Wakanda. The fuck. All right.
So yeah, Wakanda. I still think they're super. I think King T is a busted model. I think I'm not the only person who has said that if he wasn't $100 model, that more people would be playing Wakanda and it would be higher on the list.
He only comes in that dual pack with the terrain, right? With Killmonger.
Yeah. Yep.
And they I hate when they fucking do that, when they put like 2 really good models in a terrain piece, and it's like, I don't want this terrain piece.
Dude, it's one really good model in a terrain piece.
Model is and it's a bad terrain piece, right? It's easily the worst one. Yeah, it's crazy. They did
it in Shatterpoint as well. Because I had to buy it because I really wanted the Vader. It was Obi-Wan and Vader and a bunch of terrain I'm never gonna use, and they do it all the time. They do it in MCP too.
I think they're super. I think Wakanda is right up there with the big boys. Despite my personal performances with them recently,
with Wakanda.
But I think they're really good, and I think they've got a place in the meta, and I think they're in the super category. I think King T just outshines a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think M'Baku's kind of a bad leadership, right? But they have
good leadership. It's boring.
It is boring, and it's kind of like the worst form of dice consistency you can get because you're still relying on luck to hit the wild in the first place. But King T is an amazing model. I think he's the best 5 threat in the game. Okoye is arguably the best 2 threat in the game nowadays, and she's still just incredible. And Wakanda Forever, the best tactics card, right? Like you can maybe argue Brace, but otherwise it is Wakanda Forever. It is the best kind of my dudes are going to line up and punch you all in the face extra. It's wonderful. I think they're really, really good. They're really flexible because their core models are so good. They're so easy to splash. King T can be killed. That's like arguably the only weakness he has, but he does so much damage and he's so fast. I really like Wakanda. I've been slowly kind of collecting some Wakanda models because they're some of them are models elsewhere that I really like, and I multiple times I've almost bought that stupid $100 box because that model is so good. I haven't done it
That
yet
model's
because I
so
still have
good.
some pride, but
Because I
it's
still
getting
have
closer and closer. I
some
have to admit.
level of self-respect.
Yeah.
But I'm losing that rapidly, Omar.
Earlier this year, it was on sale for $50 at Miniature Market. So do yourselves a favor, go to Miniature Market, put it in your wish list, and when it goes on sale, you'll get an alert. And keep an eye out for that, kids.
See, there you go. We're saving you money here at the planet.
That right there is just another weapon I'm putting into your arsenal.
Yeah, he's just arming you additionally from the planet right to your arsenal. All right. Wait, was that a transition?
So next, we're going to talk about Weapon X.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Yeah.
That was another weapon in your arsenal.
Arsenal. Yeah, we got it. Okay, cool. I helped that time too.
We did it.
I helped, and I have no idea what's going on right now. So. Yeah. All right. Good. It's teamwork. Man, I love these guys. They're the best, right? Obviously, quadruple S tier forever. Maverick's the best. I actually really like growing up. He was actually one of my favorite cartoon characters because he just looks so cool and he has the super cool pistols and stuff. And I loved Weapon X as a thing. So obviously they're the best, right, Shane?
That's because you're cracked.
No. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I've just realized we need to start doing this in another order because the bottom of this episode gets really sad.
Really depressing.
Yeah, I don't know. People are doing that 6-7 wide stuff with them. That's really interesting. Maverick and Weapon X the Man did some cool things for him and added some cool stuff to them. I think that was at the end of last year.
Maverick's been out for a while now, honestly. I think.
Yeah, and I think it was the end of last year, and it did some good stuff for them. And they're cool. They're fun to play. They're a really good time. It's unfortunate that you really only want one of the 4s on the table at a time.
Yeah.
You never really want Logan and Sabretooth, which is kind of sad. They're both good, and they're good in different positions. Weapon X the Man kind of dictates that you don't play Logan as much as you want to, because he's just like a heat-seeking missile. I don't know. They're probably somewhere between less super and not near super. What do you think, Omar?
Yeah, Omar.
So I really like their model list. I wish Honey Badger was better, but whatever. That's another mutant thing. I think their tactics cards are fine. They have a tactics card leadership, which is always kind of a pain, but otherwise I think the tactics cards are really good. Maverick's card, Weapon Stash, is genuinely great. And if it wasn't restricted to Weapon X, you'd see him splashed a lot more just for that card. Their big issue, as far as I'm concerned, is that their leadership is broken. So I'm not going to go into the details, but effectively what happens is if you daze their leader, then they can't use their leadership for the rest of the round. That is really impactful, and it really kind of changes how you have to play them. Right? You essentially have to hide your leader in the back, and that's normally X-23, aka Laura Kenny, who wants to be going in and murdering. She's one of the best kind of 3-threat missiles in the game, and you can't play her that way because if she gets dazed, your leadership just turns off for the rest of the round. That's really bad. So if that gets fixed, I think they're in a solid position. As it stands now, I think not near super is pretty good. The really wide play is fun and interesting. But it's a little gimmicky. And yeah, I just think they're kind of in a rough spot as it is. And I'm really hoping that we get an errata or just a post on the forums that says, hey, this is what the wording should say, and therefore the leadership works this way. Because it didn't always work this way. It got changed last year with an Apocalypse update to the errata. So I'm hoping something like that happens again where it gets fixed, quote unquote.
Yeah, for sure. Or the card just gets rewritten so the tokens are put on the card, not on the person.
Yeah, however they want to do it. Just they know they must know at this.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. They're definitely not near super. They're kind of in a sticky situation.
I really do like the idea of
No, that was a setup. That was a setup.
Oh.
Doug's got it now. Yeah. Doug figured it out.
He's he's setting up his own dad jokes, Omar.
That should be illegal. That should be illegal somewhere.
There's got to be a law against this somewhere. This man should not just be allowed to set up his own dad joke punchlines for 2 hours. But he is. Sorry.
That's what happens when you put me in charge of it, man.
No,
you
it's really great. I'm
This
all
is
about
what
it.
happens.
I'm starting to understand what you're doing, and it's like watching.
Yeah.
It's like watching a fine craftsman just create something in front of your eyes. I'm in awe. It's pretty crazy.
I am the blacksmith of MCP tier lists.
Yeah.
Um,
The younger generations would refer to what you're doing as meme smithing. You're
Cool.
like a yeah.
I
I
You're,
can't believe that's a thing.
for those of you at home,
I'm old enough to understand
Shane is an old
blacksmithing.
man. Shane is an old man and has no idea what a meme smith is. Anyway, go ahead. You were transitioning into spider foes, I assume, or
No,
sorry,
Web Warriors.
Web Warriors. Yeah,
Web Warriors.
yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, we've seen the new stuff. We've talked about it a couple of times. I am awful at predicting which models are going to be good or bad, and I can look at all of them and say, yeah, they have uses. I'm not super excited about a lot of them, but they're still really good. I can recognize they're good. People have been taking them out for test drives, and all the reports from people I trust on the test drives have been that they're good. I've played a couple of times into them on TTS, and they seem all good. I can't see why they were in Super before. They came in this month at 8, but in the previous couple of months they were like 17, then 3, 1, 5, 5. Like I don't see a tier where they're not in Super.
No, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, these guys are great.
They were in a slightly rough position because Apocalypse himself does well into Web Warriors. They bring a ton of mystic attacks, which kind of really messed with them, and obviously kind of slow and poison, all that stuff. Really kind of added to that rough matchup. The new models, I think, all kind of get around that because they all don't have a weakness to mystic attacks, which is just huge in general. And any time when an affiliation gets an influx of new models, I think they're getting 5 or 6. That is a huge boost, right? Even if only one of those models is regularly in their list, that is a big change, and I think we're going to see a number of them. I definitely think they're in Super. I'd argue they're just behind Criminal Syndicate. That's a bit of kind of more of a prediction, but again, they're getting so many good models now that it's hard to think they won't be there, right? Like they're getting an affiliated 2-threat, a second affiliated 5-threat, and arguably the best 4-threat to come out since Shang-Chi. Right, I think Ultimate Spider-Man is either great or busted. Right, I think he's right on that line.
He's either great or I'm angry again.
Yeah,
submitting another letter.
So yeah,
Omar has a stack of letters, all individually addressed to Atomic Mass Protocol about each individual model.
I'm not above it, I'll be honest with you. So I think they're incredible. I think they are going to dominate the meta, and I think in 6 months, when someone is talking about kind of list ideas, one of the first questions they're going to be asked is, okay, what do you do against Web Warriors? Right? What does your list do to handle that? And I think that's indicative of just how good they are now and how much better they're going to be in a little bit.
Affiliated 2 cost for Spider-Ham is going to be nuts. That's going to be really sweet.
Yeah, and we haven't even talked about they have a leadership card that just doesn't get attached to a model, and if you don't have a leadership, everybody gets this ability. Or all Web Warriors, all affiliated Web Warriors get this ability, where if you roll a skull on either a attack or damage, or it might even be
attack,
on
defense, or dodges. Any one of them,
yeah. You get to place yourself within 1. The amount of things that trigger off of that, like Gwen and Gwenum, and I think Silk's got one of those things too, right? Where like if you place and do an attack, you get to move or something. But there's a lot of things that key off of that, and just like the reactive bump from Convocation, if you throw out a skull in your defense roll, all of a sudden you can bump yourself out of range. Most of the spider people have range 3, so range 2 attackers coming into them, they can bump out and then still be in range themselves to affect the game. It's going to be really interesting to see how all that plays out. There's lots of debates right now about the consistency of the defense dice versus the consistency of this happening. So it'll be interesting to see where the dust settles.
Yeah, I agree. I think that leadership is...
Is that a transition?
No. It's an actual human speech.
The transition is going to be that with the Web Warriors being so popular, it's going to be a very cold winter.
We're in this weird space now where I don't know when you stop, when you say things. Obviously, now you're setting up for for a specific affiliation, which I won't ruin. But I don't know when you finish saying sentences now whether or not you're setting up for a clip or whether or not we're going to the next affiliation. Which now we are.
It's the Danger Planet minigame. It's the Danger Planet minigame.
Yeah, it's kind of it's pretty wild. All right, yeah. So, would you like to talk about the Red Star affiliation? No.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Winter Guard. I've played against them a couple times recently. I've fooled around with them a couple of times this year. They've got some really interesting play lines when you're taking Crimson Dynamo, Natasha, and then one of the other models. You could pick whether you want Red Guardian or who's the 4-threat guy that I'm with the tentacles that I'm
Omega Red.
Omega Red, thank you. You know, whether it's Red Guardian or Omega Red, or if you're hardcore and you want to take Dark Star or whatever, and then like a couple of big guys. And it's a really interesting build because with the big guys, you're countering all of the staggers and stuff people can put on you. Against Strange, you're doing well. Web Warriors are putting out. There's a massive amount of conditions right now coming out of the Web Warriors. So you'll be doing well, but Dynamo isn't enough to save the affiliation, I don't think, with the current map setups.
I think they're in a really rough spot because they haven't gotten a new actual model
in a while,
like 3 years, something like that.
Yeah, it's been a really long time.
It's kind of crazy, and a lot of the models they have are in desperate need of a touch-up, right? Like Ursa Major is kind of a great example where like he's not terrible. He's not Dark Star, who's also an affiliation, but like he clearly needs some help. So yeah, I think they're in a bad spot. I know a lot of people kind of play them and they're kind of like their pet faction and they do well with them. And honestly, more power to you. You are clearly a better player than I am. I can't play with like both my hands tied behind my back and my face cut off and like both my legs being eaten by sharks, right? Like I can't do that. But they're just not
with lasers attached to their head.
Yeah, right. Like I don't know. They have a couple of good models. I think if they get like a new model release, and we haven't heard anything about it, but hopefully they get something, they'll be fine. And also, like you mentioned, Shane, if we switch to a more kind of clumped up crisis setup, Crimson Dynamo is going to be great again. That range 4 beam is just it's terrifying. So that he can be really good. But right now, they're just not good. Right? They're not Toxwater, right? I definitely think they're a step above that. But yeah, they're just not bringing the thunder.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. They are definitely not a force to be reckoned with.
That's a transition to A-Force. Yeah, we did it. Okay. All right.
X-Force. We already did A-Force.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. My bad. Yeah.
The list starts with a force and ends with a force. This list is very forceful. So, X-Force.
Well, actually, you play a bunch of X-Force, don't you, as well, Omar? Because you have a lot of those models.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with X-Force because I like a lot of the models they have, but I think Cabal is the biggest trap in MCP. Because you read his card, you think, oh, this looks pretty good, and you put him on the table, like, oh, wow, that is utter dog shit. And it happens every 3 months or so. I'm like, oh, I should put this model back into my list. Oh, it's so good. Oh. And it just does terribly. I think it's a good leadership. I think they need a couple of good cards. They have one good card right now in Cat and Mouse. They're in kind of desperate need of like a really good 4-threat or a really good 2-threat. Like their best kind of form is Cabal and a bunch of 3s because the affiliation is really good 3s. They're one of those kind of attrition type teams who don't have a plan B. They're not really good at displacing models. They're not really good at kind of moving around and scoring points that way. So if their dice don't work,
yeah, they're kind of fucked.
They just lose, right? So that's a really kind of rough spot to be in. They are getting a couple of releases in the kind of new year. I'm really, really hoping someone brings a new leadership. I know we're getting Cannonball, who was a leader for X-Force, also a leader for New Mutants, but I'm assuming he's not going to get that leadership. Danny will. So that could be really cool. Also, they haven't mentioned anything about it as far as I can tell, but please give me Forge. I want Forge so bad.
Forge is
Such a cool character.
Forge is the man. I love Forge. He's fucking awesome, honestly.
And he was so good in X-Men 97. If you haven't seen that show, watch that show, because he's so good on it.
Forge is the man. I agree. I kind of agree with everything you're saying. My buddy plays his first crew ever was, or his first like leader / team that he ever had was Cabal, basically. And everything you said is kind of what I agree with. Mr. Shane, anything groundbreaking here or oppositional or?
No, I mean, I think they even with Cable's glow up and stuff in his rework, they're just not exciting. And for the reroll leaderships, they're kind of like one of the worst of them.
I think that my take on this is that they're medium to good at killy stuff with no backup plan. And that kind of makes them not super crazy impressive, in my opinion. Having played against these guys a bunch, and like I've never played as models, but I've played against them a bunch.
I look at their suite of characters and I go, okay, why am I not playing Apocalypse or Uncanny X-Men or Avengers? And because like the people who are good are also good in those other affiliations.
And there's more stuff going on over there too.
Right, exactly. They're not getting like the one reroll and removing cover once a turn. Like that's kind of, if they had a bunch of models that were reactionary, then I could see it. But when you compare that to like Daredevil, you go, what's going on, man? Like
that's not as good. Well, I always thought a lot of it was like it was trying like a lot of the power of the list was centric around Cable just being like a teleporting brick shithouse that just lights stuff up, and sometimes that works and you're good, but
the problem is
I guess
those low die attacks don't blossom out. So a low die attack with 3 rerolls is still going to hit a certain cap, where if you have a character who doesn't have the rerolls but just adds 2 dice onto something, like the damage profile difference between King T and Cable is massive, right? It's out of this world different, and it's because of the addition of dice, not because of the reroll. Because even if King T doesn't get the rerolls, the addition of dice gives him that different profile that totally changes the game. For 2 characters who are similar, he's just so much better.
Yeah, you want to be rolling more dice rather than having more rerolls. Yeah, I agree. I think it's fair. It changes the math fundamentally. All right, well, where do you want to put these guys then? Or I guess, do you have any other, nuggets of wisdom relative to the Hex Force?
I really hope they get another leadership. That's kind of my big takeaway. I think Cable's just not an every game piece, and he doesn't need to get buffed. I'd like him if he does, but I think he's fine in the right circumstance. I think they just need another leader that allows them to do something else,
like an alternate play style.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So where do you guys want to put them, or where shall we rest them?
I feel like they're not near super, like maybe above some Winter Guard. Do you agree?
I think we could put them above Hellfire, right?
All right.
But yeah, otherwise, yeah, I think I agree. They're just not in a great shape right now, and they need a little help. I think that's fair to say.
And that is the whole meta, right? Did we do it?
Yeah, we did it.
We did it. Hey, high fives, everyone. I guess the biggest question is, as the cow moves and as the airship toots along, I don't know. Where do you guys think the meta is at right now? Like the current, like, what do you think the biggest, if you guys had to have some of the biggest takeaways as the cow moves, as they say, what are the current biggest takeaways of competitive play in the MCP meta as of early October 2025? Omar and Shane.
I think the top 5 affiliations we have up there are going to see continue to see an inordinate amount of play rate compared to everything else. I think webs, you are going to start seeing once everybody in your section of the world gets the models, the play rate of Web Warriors is going to skyrocket. So be prepared for it. It is a web apocalypse coming through.
It's a web apocalypse, baby. Oh man, that's gonna be so annoying. People are gonna tech against me at tournaments all the time. Oh, like
Yeah, I'm expecting to see lots of webs versus webs matchups, right? That kind
the
of
web mirror.
Yeah.
The web mirror and all of the crazy nonsense that it will spawn. People like be teching into the web mirror with like weird shit.
So for me, what could happen, what I'm kind of hoping does happen, is a more, not even attrition, but more kind of mid-range, a more kind of opportunistic webs list kind of comes out. Because right now they really like to kind of like move you off of objectives, score points really fast, and die slowly. And that's not particularly interesting to play against. I'm hoping that their new list iteration with these new models allows them to be more kind of assertive, more kind of get in the scrum. Again, not necessarily try to kill you, but kind of play that game with the rest of us. I think that could be a lot of fun. Nothing I see about the new models really makes me think that they're going to shake up the other good things. I don't think Inhumans are going to have a particularly hard time against them. I think APOC is going to do his own thing. I think Criminal Syndicate will just still be great. But there's a very good chance that webs become the second best thing. I still think Inhumans are going to be the best thing, but I think there's a solid chance web become the second best thing, just because their sheer model quality at this point will be amazing. I think they're arguably at this point the only affiliation that can run fully affiliated and still be incredibly competitive. And that could be wrong.
Whoa. Apocalypse runs fully affiliated.
That's true, but that's real weird, right? I
that's
agree
true, but
there.
shit gets real weird over there.
Yeah,
at the Servants of the Apocalypse.
They literally kind of give you handouts when you run affiliated models in Apocalypse. I think webs might be the first time we see, again, just all 10 web warriors. They do good. Like they have a new leadership, quote unquote, because it's not quite a leadership, that only works for affiliated models, and have not seen a single Web Warriors player complain about it because they have no issues running.
Yeah, they just plan on playing affiliated anyway.
Yeah. I'm really excited to kind of see that, and I hope that it's a more interactive form of Web Warriors, so I have more fun playing against it. Because I'm not going to play it yet, but I'm hoping I can still have fun playing against it.
Can I just say, let's all hail the rise of Dr. Voodoo, because Jericho Drum should be everywhere, because he takes out half of the Web Warriors and reduces the rest of them to a different game plan.
Wild. Mine is painted. He's just ready to go. I'm looking for an excuse to put that guy on the table at this point.
Dr. Voodoo is actually a dope model. I just haven't run into him that much. I feel like as a Web Warrior player, because I actually am a Web Warrior player, just listening to you guys talk about how we're the worst people ever. Thank you for that, by the way.
No, you're not the worst. And human players are still the worst, right?
Omar's like, listen, you're not the worst, buddy. You're a close second, but you're not the worst. You're still garbage, but you're not the worst garbage. So don't worry. You're good, man.
I don't know, man. I think the people still playing Thanos are probably still the worst timeline of people.
I mean, you can't be mad at anybody playing Blackwater right now. That feels...
Yeah, at this point, they have my sympathy, right? They are quite literally living in the nostalgia.
Yeah, they're living in their nostalgia bubble. Yeah, let them enjoy
They scored
themselves.
4 touchdowns in a single game at Polk High.
Yeah, back in the '90s, they won a couple of events. It was fine. My thought on this is that I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. I think that there's already people that had a target on the Web Warriors back, which is fine. Makes sense. And there's already a lot of Incinerate coming at me, which is fine. It makes sense. But, oh my gosh, would it be crazy if we got to a point where the meta was so prevalent where Web Warriors players were rostering like 1 to 2 slots on their 10-man like bench / total pool for the Web Warrior mirror. That'd be wild to me. But maybe we see that, because having a 2 cost, like the little porker, like Peter Porker, the little like
Spider
piggy
Ham.
boy.
Spider.
Yeah, having a 2 cost in Affiliation is really good for a lot of reasons because of how a lot of their core cards work. So like all webbed up, you really want affiliated models for that. Like I've in certain games leaned towards Moon Knight simply because he was like a 3 cost that was affiliated, because I wanted the all webbed up to be more synergistic off of him. Like so
Moon Knight slaps and is totally underrated.
I like Moon Knight. He's I'm not I wouldn't call him a titan a titan of industry when it comes to 3 drops. Nobody's like Moon Knight is the one breaking the game here, in terms of like 3 drops. But I like him. I haven't painted. I run him.
Range 4, stealth, rapid fire, all webbed up rapid fire, 6 dice. Like,
don't threaten me with a good time. I'm just telling you how other people view him as well. I'm just saying.
Automatic mystic attack, displacement spender.
I haven't painted. I run him. Yeah, I play him. I agree. I'm just saying having an in cost 2 drop is going to be really, really cool. Really, really exciting. And then like a lot of these other models just look good and playable, and like so you're giving already really deep faction, really playable models like that kind of do other things, which is cool. Because Omar is right. Like a lot of our game plan is run up to things really quickly, run away, score a bunch of points, make you spend resources attacking us, and die really slowly while we score, and make you chase us everywhere because we've got really efficient models that are defensive, and we can displace you also so that you don't score as effectively. That's like what they do. So, anything else, gentlemen, on the meta as she stands in front of us? I like to see like the meta, the great unknown, right? Like the ocean of possibility.
I will say I hope Shane is wrong. That
I think we all hope Shane's wrong, but go on. In what specific case do you mean?
The new models are going to come sooner rather than later. I'm really optimistic about October because I need to build and paint those models and get test games in, because I have a bunch of kind of tournaments coming up in the fall and winter. So I really need those test games in. So please, AMG, if you're listening,
please give them to me, please, for the love of God.
Fix New Mutants and then give me the models, right? Like that's the order, but please get on both of them.
Please, for the love of God, save me. Signed, Omar. All right, Shane. Anything else on closing? As we
just a couple of shout outs. Thanks again to Soren. We pulled Soren's data for a lot of our discussion. He doesn't just talk about tier lists. He also writes articles on a whole bunch of other stuff. It's all really engaging. It's all really awesome. He also now has an SG protocol Discord that you can join. You can find that linked off of his blogs. Other than that, Captain Con, I will be running some events.
Where is Captain Con, Shane? For those that might not know, says a person who does know.
Captain Con is in Rhode Island, and it's the last 2 days of January and the first day of February this year.
And for those of you that don't know, Rhode Island is kind of like Massachusetts.
It's like the little baby of Massachusetts and Connecticut.
Yeah. For people who are like, what the fuck is Rhode Island? It's like kind of like Massachusetts. Think of like Massachusetts, but like smaller and attached to it.
Yeah, so the Con Hotel is right near the airport. There's a shuttle from the airport to the hotel. Friday, we're going to be doing a singles event. I believe it's just 3 rounds. And it's just going to be a little bit of a warm-up. Saturday, we're going to be doing a 3-person team event where it's going to be strict singleton, so only 1 copy of each character, each crisis card, each tactics card on each team. The pairing process is going to be similar to other 3-person team events you've seen. And Sunday will be a cut for the top 4 teams, where everybody else, we will have scrambles and stuff going on. Scrambles will be there all weekend. So sign up, jump to us. The earlier people sign up, the more prize support we get from the convention. The convention actually gives us money to hand out. That's the form of gift cards to the vendors and stuff. So if you want bigger prizes, sign up earlier.
You know,
and look forward to seeing everybody there.
As a
I'm going to be running it with
piece, Shane.
Huh?
My friend had a pet duck named Scrambles when we were growing up.
Cool story.
What a wild non sequitur.
No, he said he was talking about Scrambles earlier, and I waited for him because what he was saying sounded relevant. All right, anything else you have beyond Captain Con? Come to Captain Con. It's in February. We'll post the links. We're going to be talking about it. It's going to be awesome. Anything else going on between the two of you for MCP related nonsense? Obviously, SG protocol is amazing. You should use it. We'll link Jarvis protocol as well.
Yep, and just huge shout out to Carl, who runs the TTS mod, who's given myself and Omar the opportunity to play a bazillion games so that we could talk intelligently about this kind of stuff, or talk informed if not intelligent.
Yeah, I wish that was an exaggerated number and not a pretty accurate estimate of my play in this game.
Omar's like, I have an addiction. It's not okay. All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed us, the internet. We'll be back later, so we'll see you around. Gentlemen, say goodbye to the internet.
Bye, internet.
Goodbye to the internet.
Yeah, look at that. See, we're all polite here. Goodbye, the internet. Have a great afternoon or rest of the day.
Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by the planet. You can check out the video description below for all of our important info and links. You can see a link to the Discord if you want to come be nerds on the internet with us. We have channels for like all the games that we're playing and all of our community members are excited about. You can also check out all of our affiliate links for like our Redbubble merch store, our Pro Acryl discount code because they make the best hobby supplies on our planet and yours. And of course, our weird affiliate link if you're buying Malifaux stuff straight from Jonathan Q. Weird himself. Most importantly, though, you can see a link to our Patreon where I post things from time to time, like behind-the-scenes cuts or early vids, and we even have a tier where I'll bake you cookies and send them to you in real life. Thanks a ton to our current patrons who cover the cost of all of our software to make these videos, and we couldn't do it without them. You can see their names appearing now across the screen. And until next time, goodbye, the internet. We did it!